Hello, and thank you for watching. This is my interpersonal communications project for HSCO 508 for Liberty University. My name is Alexis Jeffers. I am a behavioral support clinician, and I have the privilege of working with children with autism. During this presentation, I will be discussing interpersonal communication, my overarching goal, my behavioral blend, as well as my personal background. Along with those things, I will be discussing communication barriers, resources and strategies, and an action plan. Interpersonal communication requires vulnerability and a desire to understand what is being shared. Interpersonal communication can happen between you and me only to the degree that each of us makes available some of what makes us a person, and at the same time is aware of some of what makes the other person too. This comes from Stewart. My overarching goal is to be a bold voice for the voiceless, that I will be able to communicate in a way that is both heard and understood. I will aspire to embrace those I serve with compassion, openness, honesty, and most importantly, Jesus. Why is this goal important? Through my time of working with children with autism, as well as other disabilities, I've noticed that people with special needs are often disregarded and seen as less valuable than a typically developing individual. I hope to bridge the gap between these two worlds by communicating the disconnect and implementing strategies that both worlds can benefit from. So my behavioral blend from Uniquely You, which is outlined in a disc, this states that I'm a CSD, which stands for Competent Steady Doer. My behavioral traits of a CSD are the ability to see details as well as the big picture, strives to directly deal with conflict, can be too analytical, task-oriented, cares about the individual person, and does not like being the center of attention or public speaking. For the most part, I would agree with this. I do like public speaking. However, I do not need to be the center of attention or be the front of the show. I am very confident and happy being in the behind the scenes if that's where I'm needed. Some of my personal background: I am an only child. I was raised by a single parent. I have a learning disability called dysgraphia. I am a first-generation female college graduate. I am from a family that has very poor communication skills, and I'm achievement-driven. So why do these barriers matter, and how are these barriers? For the most part, my dysgraphia, family communication, and achievement-driven is my biggest barriers. So to discuss those, with dysgraphia, I stutter sometimes, and sometimes have a hard time getting my thoughts out, especially when I'm having to read in public or just reading out loud in general. It's really challenging for me at times, and I shy away from that as much as possible. This has made me feel misunderstood, and I've been more reluctant to take on speaking engagements because of it. With family communication habits, I have adopted the habit of ignoring the issue or not sharing my feelings about the problem. This has caused a barrier with my friends and family when trying to avoid difficult conversations. And being achievement driven, while is exciting and I can meet my goals, I can lose patience with others quickly and would rather do a job alone. This is especially true when I am working with individuals who are not achievement driven. This has caused me to withdraw and neglect communicating my personal fears, usually because I feel misunderstood and that people won't understand what I'm going through. So some of the strategies I want to take moving forward is one from Stewart: not giving others a reduced image of who I am out of fear. Vulnerability is very important with communicating, and when I'm not being honest and I'm not sharing what's really going on, I'm giving a sanitized version of who I am, which is what they state you shouldn't do, because it doesn't give people opportunity to get to know the real you. From France and Weekle, they talk about judgmental comments, not so much in the realm of judging their behaviors or even their actions, but making decisions for them or giving them suggestions too soon. And lastly, I will be more open and willing to share about my thoughts and emotions. Why are these strategies needed to meet my overarching goal. With dysgraphia, I have reduced my image a lot because of fear and embarrassment of communicating. It shouldn't be as difficult for an adult to communicate as it is for me. As a teenager or even as a child, it wasn't as prevalent, and most people just disregarded it. However, now it comes across as unprofessional or unprepared, which in most cases is not the case. It's just how my brain processes the information that I've been given. Being achievement driven has caused me to make decisions for others, which I've stated previously. I tend to focus less on what is being said and more on what what goals need to be met. This has caused me to not always think through what the person is trying to say, but I tend to guess what the person is trying to say and come up with a plan for them. So my action plan for meeting my communication goals would be to incorporate active listening strategies, focusing on what is being said instead of offering advice. Jensen and Morton state that no matter how long the relationship has been, focus on active listening. So active listening is when you are not thinking through your next statement. You're not thinking about what you have for lunch that day or anything else, not trying to come up with a plan for them, but you're actively listening to what the person is trying to say, as well as being able to reflect what you're hearing to make sure that you're hearing it correctly. Rolnick et al. State that introduce motivational interviewing to allow the individual to make their own choices without the input of someone else. This will be extremely important for me to do, especially when my friends or family are needing advice, but it's not appropriate for me to make the decision for them. By doing motivational interviewing, I'm giving them the opportunity to make their own decisions and come up with a solid plan that best meets their needs. I will also start to disclose my personal feelings or situations that I've been through to create opportunity to relate well and find common ground with others. Some of the feelings that I'll be sharing will be fears and stress, conflict when those things arise. Peterson states that allowing people to know how we feel lets them deeper into our lives, where they have a chance to care more about us and as a result act more often on our behalf. When people do not know that I'm struggling, or they don't know that I have this fear, there's no way they can help me. So it gives a way, the opportunity for people to be there for me and makes me have to do it on my own. Another step I'll be taking will be to change my perspective on my learning disability. This isn't something that's going to go away. I will have it for the rest of my life. But by changing my perspective on it, I can share that it's a hindrance at times and that it takes me longer to do assignments or it takes me longer to comprehend the material. But by sharing that information, people understand or at least are able to give that grace when needed. So making this a reality for my goal, I will be taking the proactive steps outlined in my action plan. I will articulate why individuals with special needs are just as important as typically developing individuals. I will have more confidence in my ability to speak and boldly do so. I will also enable others to find their voice, no matter the obstacle. I will provide motivational interviewing, active listening, as well as help individuals with special needs and their families know people care and they want them to succeed and to know who they are personally. So in conclusion, I wanted to share with you all a favorite poem of mine that has gotten me through some of the more challenging times, especially going through college and overcoming some of the struggles of having learning disability in college. It is by Marianne Williamson. It states that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is not our light. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we liberate from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you.